And welcome, Tina Bridgettini here. Today, I want to try something a little bit different. We've gone over a lot of different topics, and one that I think is really important as a practitioner when we're listening to clients and we're hearing about people in their life that they're starting to rescue. You want to start asking yourself these questions because there's something going on in the background, and this is really key as a practitioner as sometimes we're listening to the client and we think that they're looking for support on a particular subject. But if we listen close in the background, we're going to find out that this isn't the actual issue. The actual issue is often very old. That is called a pattern. And I want to talk about these patterns because the patterns can be reorganized in the energetic system. So as much as we know about nervous system regulation, ways that we can teach our clients how to start calming their nervous system down, how to come back to regulation, we really still need to find this place of organization. We do a lot more of that in the energy therapy course. But I want to talk about, are you missing what's actually happening when your client tells you a story? I think, anybody with kids can relate to this. A child is struggling. Now, there can be many reasons that your child's struggling. Sometimes they're struggling because of a divorce. They married the person that just created a living hell for their life. Maybe they were drained financially. Because of this financial drain, you're watching your own child struggle, and they have children and their children are struggling. As a practitioner, if you're listening to that story, you might be hearing that they're a saint, that while it's really nice of them that they're helping their child, and maybe it is, and maybe it isn't. So this is something that, we need to get to. There's so many different topics that go along with this that I'm just wanting to stay a little bit focused on this first pattern that you'll see. And that is, instead of looking at this person as, they're a saint, look at all they're doing for their child, I want you to think about this. Did they learn in their life to rescue people? Now, that can happen in a family where they felt like they had to rescue a parent. Maybe their parent one parent was an alcoholic, the other person was taking their abuse, or somebody was a narcissist. There's so many different reasons that these patterns can show up in childhood and then continue to play out in adult life. Take a look at that pattern from childhood, not from what's happening as an adult. That is just one way of starting to look at things in the background. I always say, listen in the background. What is your client not saying? That is the most important information that is happening in that intake. What are they not telling you? Now, they're not telling you because they don't think it's relevant. What they're feeling is, I have to help my child. And who's saying that is actually the rescuer. It's not the adult that wants to teach their child something. Let's take another perspective at this. Yes, sometimes we want to help our children. And sometimes we should, if it feels right to us, or if we have the capacity to do it. Sometimes we don't, whether that's financially or emotionally or whatever it is, you may not actually have the capacity to do it. So you can't, and you have to sit back and watch. And that can be so painful. There's this place where you just have to let go and let them figure it out. Sometimes parents have to recognize if they're being a rescuer, are they better off? Is the child better off? Is this a teaching moment? Is this a time where they can teach their child that they have the capacity to stand on their own 2 feet? Because what happens by not being rescued is that you figure it out. Now, I'm not saying that every child will. Some just don't have the capacity to. And in that case, a parent would stay very present because they know that they're obligated to. And when I say that, I'm talking about somebody that just, and for whatever reason, does not have the capacity. So we also have to have compassion, empathy, and take a look at the whole story. But remember to listen to what your client's actually telling you. And then you want to look at, can I reorganize the pattern? So in energy therapy, what we would be doing is reorganizing the patterns around the inner child. And when I say that, I'm talking about the energetic system, because that will reorganize the pattern. We have to heal the inner child, the rescuer, in order for this adult to find the clarity that they need to support their child. And there's no right or wrong. It's only what feels right for the parent in that moment. Sometimes it means just letting that child fly on their own and then watching them be successful at it. And that is amazing. Let's give your clients the gift of recognizing what is truly happening in the background. And this doesn't mean that you have to tell your client everything that you're thinking or that you know. It just means that you have to listen deeply. And that's what the teaching is all about. So many blessings to you.